Hey everyone, these are my runs on Dimensions and Transcendence tier 11 on the left and right Crucibles. Both runs are going to be solo. The left Crucible right here will be with Rinoa with her FR but no BT because I didn't manage to stack her BT. And the right Crucible will be a solo with Shantoto with base BT and high armor. If you have Rinoa's FR, the left Crucible is pretty much a piece of cake. All you have to do is hang on until you reach a 100% force gauge, which is where the Gladio LD call comes in. And if you don't have Gladio LD call, just use another defensive call such as Warrior of Light or Cater or Age. Any of them should work and will provide you enough survivability to last until you can go into FR mode. I'll cover more about the right gate when we get to it. But here, as Rinoa is smashing phase, just want to quick mention about the change of my pool plans. In case you've seen my pool plan video, I was initially planning to throw tickets on Rinoa until I score 4 copies of her FR and hopefully 1 BT. And if I didn't get her BT, I would actually want to use the BT tokens to redeem her BT. In case you're wondering why it's not done here, I was about to use my BT tokens to redeem, but then I realized that I actually have a lot of tickets that will expire in the next 14 days. About 500 or maybe 600 or so tickets. I didn't actually do a count, but it's like 4 or 5 pages in my inbox. And on Rinoa's banner right here, I don't know whether I will call it lucky or unlucky, but I actually snagged 4 FRs in 220 tickets only and did not get any BT along the way. So there's really not much point throwing more tickets because the only weapon missing is her BT weapon, and it's 0.1% chance per ticket. I don't think I'll be able to get it within the next few hundred tickets. So after a bit of thinking, I decided to just wait until Arif's event, which is just around the corner, and then use my tickets on that banner so that I can still chase Rinoa's BT, but at least along the way I can also get Arif's FR as well. Why not wait until Baltier's event? Well, mainly because I also want to use Rinoa BT on Arif's event, and I don't think I can actually wait 7 full days until Baltier's banner drops. So on hindsight, I think given what has happened, I'll just go for spending tickets on Arif's banner until I score Arif's FR and hopefully Rinoa's BT. And if I use all my 500-600 tickets and still no BT, I will use BT tokens to redeem. With that said, let's head on to the right Crucible. So coming to the right Crucible, it does require a Black Crystal character. So if you are planning to solo, you do need to filter to Black Crystal characters only. Honestly, if you have Leon up to his LD, Leon LD makes this Crucible a piece of cake, and he's probably the easier character to solo this stage on. But I unfortunately don't have Leon's LD, so I have to make do, and instead I decide to just throw Shantoto here because I don't think I'll be using Shantoto in another Dimensions and Transcendence stage. My Shantoto is at base BT and base high armor. I did throw a book each on her BT and her high armor, but did not spend any ingots, so they are at 0 out of 3. I'm not gonna lie, with Shantoto solo here, it is rather tricky on this stage, and that's because Shantoto's S1 and S2 are only single target, and the problem is the bosses have a very low orb count of 8, and it caps out at 8, so even if you can increase the orb count, you can't go above 8. And each time the bosses get a turn, which happens frequently in a solo run, the orb will have a -2 count. So the biggest challenge here with Shantoto is killing the boss before the orb reaches 0. And this is where actually the Celes LD call comes in. If you use Celes LD call, it applies her trap on the bosses for I believe 4 turns or so, and the trap actually helps to offset the -2 count when the bosses take a turn, which helps you to maintain the refilling orb for longer. You might notice here also that with Shantoto, I am actually focusing all my damage on one boss as much as possible. Every now and then you do need to switch targets to uptick the orb on the other boss, but you want to focus damage down one boss as much as possible. There's two reasons why doing this is helpful in a Shantoto solo run. Firstly, if there's only one boss remaining, you only need to deal with one Lufenia orb, and it's much easier to uptick one orb with Shantoto than it is with two orbs, because if there's only one boss remaining, you can also use Shantoto's S1 or S2 to uptick the orb. Also, when there's only one boss remaining, the boss will also sort of get an enrage mechanic where he will regen brave after every single action that you take. And that's actually ideal with Shantoto here, because when the boss regens brave, you can actually just infinitely re-break the boss, and the boss will actually never get another turn after that, so you can just spam skills until the remaining boss is dead. Also with Shantoto solo here, you want to make use of the BT mode and summon mode mainly as a way to uptick the orb to 8 again, because like I said, the orb count of 8 capping out is extremely low, and if you're using Shantoto S1 or S2, eventually the orb will tick down to 0. So when the orb count is low, what you want to do is then pop a BT mode and then uptick the orb to 8, and then later on in the fight when the orb gets low again, you want to pop summon and re-uptick the orb back to 8 again. I did try a few different call abilities. I'm not sure whether there's another call ability that can do what Celes does. Maybe something like Leon LD call or Size LD call. Not sure whether their call abilities actually apply their trap debuffs as well, but you want the trap debuff that has an elemental attack, and I don't have both Size and Leon LD, so I couldn't test those. So Celes LD is the way that I went instead. Alternatively, if you're really struggling with Shantoto solo here, you can always just pair her with another person who can elemental enchant so that you can have to uptick the orb, or use a trap character that can plant some traps and enchant that character with an elemental attack. The boss is weak to every single element in the game, so any enchant will work, and the traps on the boss will help you to maintain the Lufenia orb far more easily. It is a little bit pesky here as well, because the bosses do have the shoulder charge which actually delays Shantoto, and that is actually quite pesky. You can see here that she also got paralyzed here, which was rather unfortunate. I was considering to reset the fight here. In case you're wondering, a lot of the boss's attacks, especially the plus versions, have a small chance of landing paralysis on your units. So if you do get paralyzed, it is rather unlucky. But as you can see right here, I managed to still shoulder through and complete the fight nevertheless. All things considered, I think this is probably a good place to use Shantoto, because I don't really think I'll be using her in a future stage. In terms of raw power as a DPS, I guess she's not too bad. You know, she can actually output about 1 million damage a turn, but the problem is that at this stage of the power creep of the meta, so can many other characters, and in fact, you know, the top tier meta characters of T11 and Rinoa can probably output more. And the problem with Shantoto is that, you know, she's really competing for BT ingots at a time where there's so many hyped BT ingot characters around, and it's very hard to justify Shantoto receiving BT ingots. Heck, I'll probably prefer to BT ingot Ardyn over Shantoto, and I'm probably not even gonna do that, again for the same reason that I'm kind of short on BT ingots and I want to use them in the upcoming characters instead. So that's it for the left and right Crucibles. For the Reckoning stage, I will upload the run there. I plan to use Rinoa solo, but I obviously want to wait until I can get her BT weapon before attempting a solo run there. So apologies, but my Reckoning run will be up probably about 4 or 5 days after the release of Damages and Transcendence Tier 11. So slightly later than my normal practice, but I'd rather wait and use tickets on Ares banner than to just continue throwing tickets on Rinoa's banner when I already have 4 copies of her FR. I hope the video has been helpful, and if you enjoy the content, please leave a like, comment or subscribe. It really helps a lot. Till then, I'll see you guys in the next Shinryu fight. Bye!